Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. All right, before we talk what next for Fabio Wardley after that really good win against Fraser Clark, let's have a quick look and see if there's anything else to talk about. By the way, I interviewed Rafael Nadal yesterday. I don't know if you guys are big tennis fans like I am, but even if you're not, you know who Rafael Nadal is. He announced his retirement from tennis a few days ago, and I was the first person to interview him since that announcement. So that was a big interview. I think it comes out in a couple of days. I will put some clips up on my Instagram and maybe Twitter as well. That's probably the biggest sports star I've ever interviewed. I was thinking about this when they asked me to do it. I was like, because I've interviewed obviously a lot of boxers, right? I mean, so many. I've interviewed some footballers as well, but Rafa Nadal is just huge. He's one of the greatest tennis players of all time. And if that wasn't big, I interview a certain Cristiano Ronaldo on Sunday. Fucking hell. What is going on? What is going on? All right, let's have a look. Artur Beterbiev beating Dmitry Bivol was no robbery. No, of course it wasn't. I said this the other day. It wasn't a robbery. And even the 116-112 scorecard, that isn't crazy. If you watch that back, it's not crazy as well. It's a case of what do you like? Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but I had Bivol 7-5, but I have no argument with it being 7-5 the other way. In pursuit of legend status, Zera Ramirez eyes heavyweight run. No chance. I mean, he was big for 168 pounds. He was big for 175. He is normal sized for a cruiserweight. And look, I'm not even sure he gets past Chris Billam-Smith. And even if he were to, I think this run stops at Jaya Pattaya. Like, you've got to have something really, really special if you're undersized and want to go into the land of the giants. And watching him against Bivol, I think he's a bit better than he was against Bivol now. But watching him against Bivol, he's good, but he ain't special. I still don't know if Jai can go up. And Jai is very special. Jai's got fantastic feet. Jai's a much better boxer, and even he's undersized. I mean, but Jai could make up for that with just his ability. I don't think Zerdo has that much ability. Not being disrespectful, just telling you what I think. Roy Jones Jr. scored Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol a draw. Nobody won or lost by 4 points. Okay, we've spoken about that a lot. Callum Simpson believes Ben Whittaker found an easy way out. I mean, I saw something today which suggested he had a sprained ankle. And I see immediately after that, I saw someone say, 1 second, David Haye fought Tony Bellew with a torn Achilles. I mean, I guess everyone's pain threshold is different, but that does make a sprained ankle look quite soft, doesn't it? Look, we'll see, right? Ben's not released a statement. I do hope he does. Again, when you're as vocal as Ben is, and he's very vocal, let's also be vocal in, I was going to say defeat, it was a draw, but let's also release something so people know what's going on. We'll just have to wait for the rematch to happen, and then we'll see. Again, from the very start of that fight, I was like, what's Ben doing? Like, Ben is very, it's not even a case of he's a showboat. He's just very unorthodox in the way in which he fights, or at least I thought that. And then he seemed to be very orthodox, very normal on fight night. So hopefully, if they do fight again, Ben can go back to the way he used to fight, and then we'll see if that works. And if it is just a sprained ankle, I think Ben Shalom confirmed that as well, then he should be back very, very soon. And then we'll see, because if you're Liam Cameron now, I mean, you must be super confident going into that rematch. Super confident. Anything else before we talk about what next for Fabio Wardley? It says this about Fraser Clark. Fraser Clark suffers zygomatic fracture to jaw, but won't be in hospital for long. I have had a few people reach out to me and said they saw him at the airport and he was actually speaking to people, so he's okay, but it just looked scary, didn't it? Honestly, it looked frightening, and I wish him the best of health. I do wonder, you know, whether or not that's kind of that for Fraser. I guess with heavyweight boxing, you can go on and on and on until you're like 38, 39, so I don't think we're going to see him in the ring for a long time, and then we'll see what they do with him. Remember, Ben Shalom was always a bit cautious and nervous about making this fight, right? I mean, it felt like pressure was being put on him to make the fight. He didn't really want to make Fabio Wardley Fraser Clark. Remember, they pulled out of purse bids before when Fabio was with Matchroom. So he always felt hesitant to do this, and this is why. This is why. All right, let's talk about what next for Fabio Wardley. I've got some names written down. Aside from these, I might just make up some names as I go along as well, but let's jump straight into it. FRAZER. I don't mind it. FRAZER, I do not mind. Only lost once. That was to Frank Sanchez. He looked really bad in that fight, but Frank Sanchez then was such a good fighter. So there's no shame in that loss. I think this is a winnable fight for Fabio just because I don't think FA is a great boxer. I think he's got a bit of power. I don't think he's got as much power as Fabio, but I think he's got power. So this one could be a straight shootout. He's not, in the land of the giants, FA is not too big as well. I think he comes in slightly lower than Fabio or around that weight, so he's not too big. FRAZER. My number one choice, this is in no order whatsoever, my number one choice would be Jared Anderson. I like that fight a lot. What it does, it opens Fabio up to the American market as well. I mean, a lot of people were saying prior to Jared getting slept by Martin Bakole, a lot of people were saying that Jared was the future of the American heavyweight boxing scene. Jared, I think, will like the fight because Fabio's not the size of Martin Bakole, and Jared is very good technically. So Jared will probably look at Fabio and think, I can outbox you. The problem is, how much is that fight taken out of Jared? Not just physically, I mean his confidence. Like, Jared seems to be a fighter that kind of thrives on being confident and somewhat arrogant. I mean, that would have taken a lot out of him, but that would be my number one choice. And I feel like that fight can be made. I think Turkey loves Jared Anderson, right? Made him a RIYADH season ambassador. Made that fight against Bakole, and I think Turkey likes Fabio as well. So I definitely think that can be made. This one I've wrote and I've got a massive question mark next to it because it could be a move too high. But I'm not high on this fighter as many others are. Filip Hrgović. I know it's risky, but so what? I mean, it's risky, yes, but Filip Hrgović is coming off a bit of a beating. By the way, when you watch that fight, yeah, Filip Hrgović is doing very well. He just can't get Daniel Dubois off him. This stylistically is a bit different, but I mean, again, Fabio Wardley hits hard. He hits hard, and you've been hit hard recently by Daniel Dubois. I mean, is his confidence where it once was? Like, I sat with Hrgović, and he has this, he's so arrogant. I love it. It's so arrogant. It's overconfidence. But where is that now? Where is that now? So I don't know. So I don't mind a Filip Hrgović fight. This one I wrote down, but the risk reward here is very, very little. Like, the risk reward in all the other fights is quite high because they're names and there'll be big fights. FRAZER is a name. Jared Anderson will definitely be a big fight. Hrgović, massive fight. Guido Vianello, not so big. Guido Vianello has lost, I think it's once, by the way, and that was to FRAZER. We might have lost one more, but once definitely. He recently beat Arslanbek Makhmudov. The fight was stopped. I don't know if you saw it. Arslanbek, like, gruesome eye injury. So that's a good win. That's a good win after Agit Kabayel beat Makhmudov. So Guido is known. Again, it's not necessarily a big fight, but I think both fighters are probably on the same level. Like, I would kind of say Guido is where Fabio is. Some might say Fabio's high. I don't know. I saw the Ring sort of updated their rankings, and Fabio is now ranked number 9, I think. But I don't know. I think Guido's a good boxer, so I think it's a good fight. Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin, by the way, has had a fight since the AJ defeat. I think he fought, I can't remember the guy's name, but he knocked him out in 1 round. So the name is very forgettable. Otto Wallin's an interesting one. And I like it. Otto Wallin's now 33. I think he's more known for the Fury fight, right? Everyone keeps on talking about the Fury fight, That was years ago. Where is he now? Against AJ, when the going got tough, he didn't want to know. And that performance was the one that made everyone say, okay, AJ's back. I think Fabio could do him, you know. I really do think Fabio could do him. But look, there's some good names there. Now, there are others. I mean, Jarrell Miller's name's been mentioned. and that's a good matchup. I think Jerome Miller might just so big. Jerome Miller is so big, but Fabio's now put himself in a position where these type of matchups they're one step away from the very serious matchups. So that's how close Fabio is. So these fighters are one step away from your Joseph Parkers, your Zhangs, your Bacolis, your Dubois. You know what I mean? You're one step away. AJ potentially as well. You're one step away from that. So he's now really in a position where he ain't far off. I know he said he wanted a world title when I interviewed him in the ring, and I think a few people were like, he's only a couple of fights away, you know, a couple of big wins away. Like if he were to beat a Jared Anderson or Philip Hrgović of the names on this list, he is 2 fights away. That's how close he is. And again, I mean, I know I talk about this a lot, but what a story. I mean, to go from white collar boxing to being British and Commonwealth champion is saying something. And then to ice your nemesis like that. Like, he's now cleared the British scene. He has. I mean, David Adelaide, Fraser Clark. I mean, the other fighters in that scene, Solomon Dakers, but he's not going to go backwards, is he? So these are the names that he should be looking at. And I think he will get one of these names as well. I really do. I think Frank has come out. Obviously, Frank promotes him now. Has come out and said he'll make the Jared Anderson fight. If you're Jared Anderson, that's a career-defining fight. You lose to Fabio Wardley, and it's kind of like, all right, you're in no man's land. So it's a risky fight for Jared. Otto Volin would you know what, of the names on this list, the one that I think would take the fight and the fight that I think fans would accept is Otto Volin. I think Jared Anderson will probably say no. Guido, just no one would be excited about that fight. Philip Hrgović, I think Fabio's team, not Fabio, I think Fabio's team would be like, not quite sure. Otto Volin, I think they'll take. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the name that they fight next, and that's a good one. I think that's a really good name for Fabio. All right, anyway, we are done. We shall do more videos throughout the week. I am here until Sunday evening, and then we fly back, and then finally I'm back on my chair in my studio making videos that have better sound quality. Peace.